Welcome to the Basic Concepts in Immunology series. In this talk, we're going to learn about different types of immune responses and the origins of immune cells. Immunology is the study of the immune system, which is the defense system of our body. The immune system protects the host from other invading organisms that usually can cause harm, and these organisms are called as pathogens. In addition to pathogens, the immune system will also protect the host cells from its own cells that are behaving abnormally or aberrantly. For example, cancer cells. So our immune system is able to identify cancer cells and eliminate them. The immune system is able to mediate its effects through a host of different players. So let's look at the different categories. We do have different types of proteins that help in our defense, and some of these proteins are the complement, defensins, lysozyme, so on and so forth. The immune system has a wide variety of cells that help in host defense, which include monocytes, lymphocytes, neutrophils, etc. There is an entire system present in our body called as the lymphatic system, which plays an important role in defense. The lymphatic system is made up of lymphatic vessels, lymph nodes, a few organs, so on and so forth. Talking about organs, we do have organs in the body that help the immune system or form part of the immune system. Usually the bone marrow, spleen, and thymus are the only ones that come under it, but we do have other organs that can also support the immune system. All of these different players will work together. So they don't work in isolation, but they have to work together because that is the only way they can protect the host from different pathogens that can cause diseases. The immune system is able to protect the host cells from pathogens by fighting the pathogens, which is what is immunity. Now, for immunity to be achieved, immune responses have to be mounted. Immune responses are different physiological and cellular processes, and these processes work together to fight the pathogens. And there are two main types of immune responses. The first one are the innate immune responses, which are considered as the first line of defense because they are quick. However, they are non-specific in nature. The adaptive immune response, which is the second type of immune response, is slower, so it takes time to develop. However, it's very specific in its action and it has immunological memory. So the adaptive immune responses are able to remember the pathogen that they encountered. We're going to first look at the innate immune response. The innate immune response, as I said, is the first line of defense that the host normally employs. The innate immune system has many different components that include anatomical barriers, and these can be in the form of the dead layers of cells that form your skin, or the mucus that we can see in the linings of our respiratory tract and our gastrointestinal tract. Other parts of the innate immune system are physiological mechanisms, like the production of saliva and tears. We do have proteins in the blood and the tissues that help in host defense, which include complement proteins. We also have an inflammatory response, which is induced or produced when there is an infection. And the purpose of the inflammatory response is to help immune cells find the pathogen and destroy the foreign material. Some of the signs of the inflammatory response are swelling, fever, redness, and pain. These different signs are mediated by a variety of molecules like bradykinin, histamine, cytokines, etc. An inflammatory response is a very important part of the innate immune response because it brings immune cells to the site of infection. Which brings us to the last component of the innate immune system, which are the immune cells. These are cells that can recognize and destroy pathogens or infected cells. Additionally, they can take portions of the pathogen to show to other types of immune cells. The adaptive immune response differs from the innate immune response in that it develops slowly. However, it is very specific in its action. And so the adaptive immune response is the one that is able to differentiate between different types of pathogens, while the innate immune response is unable to do so. The adaptive immune response is stimulated by exposure to antigens. Now, antigens can be part of a pathogen or molecules that are made by a pathogen, and these are recognized by host cells to trigger the adaptive immune response. The adaptive immune response is primarily mediated by the cells called as lymphocytes. Some of the main characteristics of an adaptive immune response are that it is specific in nature, it is diverse, and so we can see adaptive immune responses in response to many different types of pathogens. It has memory, and so this is what helps our immune system to remember a pathogen that it has encountered before. And the adaptive immune response also helps the body in self-recognition. So there are mechanisms built in place for the immune response to know what is the host or what is self and what is non-self. When we look at the adaptive immune responses, there are two arms to it. The first one is the humoral immune response, and this is part of the adaptive immune response that involves the production of antibodies. The other type of adaptive immune response is the cell-mediated response. In this response, the adaptive immune system helps in killing intracellular microbes that are inside the host cells. And so it actually kills the host cells, and in the process, the pathogens inside the host cells also will be killed. Immune cells play a very critical role in immune responses. So let us look at where are these immune cells formed. And all the immune cells are formed in the bone marrow, which, as the name suggests, is present in the bones. Now, the bone marrow comes in two flavors, which are the red marrow and the yellow marrow. The red marrow is the one that actually has these specialized stem cells called hematopoietic stem cells. It is these hematopoietic stem cells that will undergo differentiation to give rise to all the different types of blood cells. The yellow marrow, on the other hand, is rich in fat cells and does not have hematopoietic stem cells. In the case of an infant, all the bones of the body have the red marrow, which is what we can see in the figure. Since all the bones in the body have the red marrow, we can see blood cells, including immune cells, being formed in all the bones of the body. However, as that infant grows, and now we can look at an adult, a lot of the red marrow is converted to the yellow marrow. And so in the adult, we can see only certain bones having the red marrow, and only in these regions are the blood cells, including the immune cells, are formed. Now, when we look at how the different cells of the immune system are formed, they all arise from these pluripotent stem cells, which are the hematopoietic stem cells. The hematopoietic stem cells differentiate to form many different types of cells that include red blood cells, platelets, granulocytes, monocytes, lymphocytes, so on and so forth. So all the cells that are found in blood and even the cells that play part in the immune system arise from the hematopoietic stem cells that are found in the bone marrow. Let us now look at the differentiation of hematopoietic stem cells. Since hematopoietic stem cells can give rise to a wide variety of cells, they're considered to be pluripotent. Hematopoietic stem cells can give rise to two main progenitors. The first one is the common myeloid progenitor. The common myeloid progenitor then can undergo differentiation to form other types of progenitors that will ultimately give rise to the leukocytes and the red blood cells as well as platelets. So the entire list of cells is provided here. Hematopoietic stem cells can also form the common lymphoid progenitors. The common lymphoid progenitor cells will also undergo further differentiation and ultimately form the cells of the lymphoid origin. Now, when we look at cells that are involved in innate immune responses, then all the cells that are in that orange box are the ones that play important roles in innate immune responses. What should be remembered is platelets are known to play a role in inflammation, which comes under innate immune responses, but platelets are not true cells. They're actually cell fragments. Now, when we look at the cells that are involved in adaptive immune responses, then the lymphocytes are known to play a key role. But additionally, dendritic cells, which also play a role in innate immune responses, are known to help in mounting adaptive immune responses. Now, when the innate and adaptive immune system work properly, that is what keeps us healthy. However, you can have instances where there is a dysregulation in either the innate or the adaptive or both immune responses. And when that happens, we come down with infections. If we have a dysregulation in the innate or adaptive immune responses, a lot of times the host experiences recurrent or persistent infections, because in these scenarios, the pathogens are not cleared from the host's body. We do have an instance of allergies, and this occurs when the immune system overreacts to substances that are not pathogenic. For example, pollen is not pathogenic, so our immune system should not be responding to it, but it does, and that is what results in allergies. Autoimmunity is a situation where the immune cells are not able to differentiate between self and non-self. And hence they think that their own healthy cells are actually pathogens and they start attacking it. You can have situations where the innate or adaptive immune responses don't work well and hence they're not able to identify aberrant host cells like cancer cells. And in these scenarios, these cancer cells are able to survive and hence they proliferate to form tumors. Thus, it's very important for the immune system to work properly so that the host can remain healthy. With this, we've come to the end of our talk where we looked at different types of immune responses and the origins of immune cells.